You want to review every single candidate? You got it, babe.
This is the best time that my warnings went unheeded and made the client regret ever asking. I worked in recruitment for 9 years, and a few years back I had a new client hiring manager and she didn't like abiding by the rules set up for the recruitment team. For one thing, we reviewed the applicants, interviewed the best qualified candidates, and then submitted them to the hiring manager for consideration. Well, this hiring manager couldn't understand why we only sent over 3 candidates in a week. Honestly, she's lucky as some positions did not garner that many applicants. I explained that we submit 3 candidates for every 1 position available. This ensures that the hiring manager's time was considered when scheduling next step interviews. This wasn't just a standard I set, it was approved by her company's TA bosses, and frankly was standard at another place I used to work as well. Hiring manager, that is absurd. I want to review all of the candidates so I can tell you whom to screen, and then you schedule their interview with me based on my availability. But ma'am, you have almost 100 applicants that met your minimum qualifications. I don't think you really want to devote that much time to reviewing all of these resumes, and honestly, some of them were not great. Hiring manager, are you not listening? Send them all over to me and I'll take care of it. Yes, ma'am. You got it. I'll send those over right away. I wrote an email to the hiring manager immediately after the call, restating the topics discussed by phone and asked again if she was certain she wanted all of the candidates sent to her. She confirmed I complied and forwarded to my boss with an explanation that she will take care of reviewing all applicants and my numbers were going to be skewed for the month. I did as requested, selecting nearly 100 candidates in the system and moved them to hiring manager review. Now, what this did was send individual emails for each candidate as an update to the hiring manager, and it would ping her email every 3 days that they weren't reviewed. I smirked. 2 days later, my boss calls and says he got an irritating phone call from this hiring manager who said she never requested this, to which they responded with the information detailed in my email. She was speechless. He let her know that I would go back into the system and back up the candidate process so it would be taken out of her to-do list and I would continue to send over candidates that were the best fit for the role as described in our processes. I never received pushback from that hiring manager ever again. I just finished the process of hiring for a new position. There were over 200 candidates that applied. The recruiter sent me 5, 3 of which were absolutely stunning. I cannot for the life of me thank the recruiter for all the hard work that went into filtering those resumes down to such a small number of great candidates for me to interview. Managers, do this thing you told me is a bad idea. Also managers, why did you do this thing? I didn't want you to do this. Send the entire ocean to me. Promptly drams. Asterisk shook the catcher. JPG asterisk. Micromanager, meet reality. Enjoy. I've had to interview candidates for open positions and I always ask how many total applicants applied. Some positions only got at best 3 and others ran into the thousands. I respect the decisions of recruitment companies after I saw what they had to deal with. If they tell me the current pool doesn't meet their criteria, I always ask for the absolute worst resume and use that for pitching changes to the opening or description. Wrote an email. For over 30 years, email has provided a neat, easy audit trail and some people still deny their own statements. Why did the client even bother hiring a recruiter in the first place if they didn't want pre-screened candidates? SMH.
All prices are final. Right. Thanks for the 50% off.
Characters. Me, a boy. Annoyed butcher AB. I'm a broke 20-something, so I like to go get groceries at the cheapest places I can, one of which is a supermarket that's fairly small but has some high-quality fruits, veggies and meat for a very affordable price. Still, even if it's affordable, there are cheaper cuts of meat and more expensive cuts like you can't expect steak to cost the same as a drumstick. I always go for chicken thighs, which aren't the cheapest, but I refuse to make curry with the cheapest cut of chicken, which is the drumstick. Today I go in as per usual and ask for 48.8 for the Americans of chicken thighs. With how they cost roughly €5 per kg, I expect the price to be €20. The price ends up being half that, and I'm confused as I look at the little sticker on the bag. The butcher had made a mistake, and the price had been calculated as if I had bought drumsticks. I try and tell the butcher, and the conversation goes as follows. Me, excuse me, I think the price is wrong. What? Me, the price of these is wrong, because... all prices are final. Me, I know, but... listen, the price is already fairly cheap, and if you have a problem with it you can just give those back. Me, not liking the fact the butcher cut me off, fine. Have a lovely day /shoulder. I went to the checkout line and paid half what I should have paid for my chicken. It's probably not going to change anything big for the supermarket or the butcher, but I'll gladly take the 50% off. A similar thing happened to me a few weeks ago. I found 2 packages of pork chops for about $1.20 USD when they're usually around $4.50 minus $6. I saw they were priced as pork shank or something instead of chops. They listened to me when I told them, though, and the manager just shrugged and gave them to me. So I'm 7 pork chops worth there after only $2.50. I was checking out at the grocery store once, and I had a bunch of one particular item. Let's say it was energy drinks, because I can't remember. The cashier swiped the first one, and I noticed she hesitated for a moment. I checked the register display, and the item was coded wrong. I was getting, like, an 80 or 90 PCT discount on the item. Then she swiped the rest of them like it was no big deal, and they all came out to that low price. She told me my total, and I started to argue with her about it. We went back and forth, and I said, I'm just trying not to rip you off somewhere in the middle of it. Then she looked me in the eye and said, sternly, something like, all prices at the checks are final, the scanner doesn't make mistakes. Pause. Raised both eyebrows and gave me an infinitesimal wink. Oh. Got it. I half smiled, nodded to her, tapped my card, and went on my way. It must have been cashier degaff day or something. I was a regular at the place, and still am, and we always say hi. I once was shopping for little sandwich sticks and had the opposite. Someone had weighed them at $32/pound, so this miserable strip of meat was marked $27. I asked an employee, she read the price and sighed heavily. We stacked the whole batch on her card. Had this happened once. When someone priced salmon, they missed a zero, so the price was something like 46 cents per pound. 3 different salmon were marked like this, so we had a lot of fish for only $5 minus 6. Had this happened to me once. But it wasn't food but a top-of-the-line coffee maker. I was selling one to a customer, and when it rang up, it came up at $1.98. It should have been $198. Oops. We both knew it was wrong, but I couldn't change anything. So I sold it for that crazy low price and then went and grabbed another one from the shelf for my parents. I still live with them, and they love their coffee. I had my coworker ring me up as per policy, and after that she bought one too. They lost so much money that day. I did notice the price came back up within 24 HRS. My parents loved that coffee maker. I got a cold error intake for $15.99, tried to tell the guy 3 times the price was wrong.